Scrimmage tomorrow, and then you go into what Coach Moorhead calls, game week. How game ready is your unit?
Well, obviously we can use the time, but we're very close. Two things we talked about when we started this camp was commitment to the process, the championship standard that Coach Moorhead has laid out before the team, and consistency. And all the way up to this point, they've done an excellent job with both. Coming out each day, being committed, waking up, being on time, doing the little things right, and consistency in execution, consistency in understanding the playbook, consistency in making sure that they're locked into practice, all those things. So we're very close. I'm excited. Obviously, we'll use a couple more days that we have to clean up some things, but we feel great.
Yeah, obviously the Moorhead offense, multiple wide receivers, but primarily single back, and you've got two guys that really everybody's looking forward to seeing on the field this year. I don't want to ask you to give me the depth chart or anything, but do you feel pretty good about who's one and who's two at this point?
Well, I feel good about the group. I feel good about who can go in the game and operate. I'm not a big believer in who's first, who's second. I'm more of a big believer in who's prepared. And we got 5 guys in the room right now that are prepared. The thing that's going to determine who runs out there first, obviously who takes care of the body this last week and a half. Obviously, as we get into game prep, who's able to get not only the offensive system, but the scouting report. And then who continues to do the little things right, being on time, studying, taking care of the body, all of those things that go into it.
What about Nick Gibson and Dontavian Lee? What have they shown you this camp, and what's their role going to be? Because you're not hearing much about them outside of, you're not hearing very much about them.
Yeah. Well, we talk about them all the time because they're actually doing some really good things. I would say both of those guys from the spring to now have made tremendous strides. Nick, to start off with, is probably one of the better vision guys we have in the room. He has a knack, smooth running style, and then he can kind of stick his foot in the ground and burst. Dontavian Lee has done an unbelievable job of changing his body. He's a bigger guy. He's changed his body now. He's feeling faster, feeling lighter. I think at this point in camp, all of them feel a lot better about the system. So they're not thinking as much. So they're starting to play faster. Things are starting to happen for them. They're building confidence. So both of those guys have made tremendous strides from the spring to now, and then obviously this whole camp.
Coach Moorhead said tomorrow night you'll be working on a lot of situations. What situations are the running backs going to be working on? What do you want to see?
Yeah, I think, the elite football teams win situational football. And we as a running back group obviously have a tremendous part in that between blocking, routes, and running the ball. So we're going to work some 2-minute, 4-minute into the game, last plays, third down and long, third and short. How do you change your running style when it's 3rd and 1 versus when it's 2nd and 10? Playing the sticks, understand, okay, it's third down, here are the team's tendencies. Understanding, okay, on certain down and distances, maybe my check down route is not as important as making sure the protection is solid before I get out. So we'll put those guys to the test tomorrow. We try to do it throughout camp, but this is kind of the situational scrimmage to kind of see where those guys are.
Coach, a lot of times as a coach, you're more of a critical thinker. You got to find ways to improve and things that guys can get better at. Is there something that's excited you about this group? Is there anything that really stood out to you in a positive way?
Yeah, Coach Moorhead said it. I've been around football a long time. I've been blessed enough to be doing this for a while. And we've had one of the more consistent camps that we've been around, where guys came out every day and got a little bit better. Usually sometimes you have great days for the defense, great days for the offense. The defense is, having a great day. The offense is kind of down, back and forth. But it's been like Coach said, a 15-round heavyweight fight each day. Offense make a play, defense make a play. Backs bust a long run, defense make a good job. So the consistency throughout camp at the high level has been impressive.
Yeah, previous regime, the wide receivers played a pretty big part in the running game. Is that something you see continuing in this offense?
Well, I think those guys, and Coach Getsy talks about it all the time, if we're going to do anything explosive and down the field, one, those guys being able to block is going to be huge. And two, the threat of those guys making big plays down the field is going to get the DB to turn his back a little bit and some man coverage, give us a chance to split one, get yards while he's not looking. I think if you look at Coach Moorhead's offense, it's not just one position or one unit that usually is out in front of the other. It's a collaborative effort, and I tell those guys all the time. It's the wideouts got to do their part. We got to do our part. The O-line's got to do their part. It's not just, hey, we got a really good running back, so everybody else can kind of be down. We need the wideouts making big plays. We need the threat of throwing the ball deep. We need the blocking on the edge. The wideouts got to make the decision, okay, am I blocking MDM? Am I getting up the field? So all of those little things that you may not see from the outside are some of the things that we talk about constantly, how each unit has a role.
You think some of them might get some carries this year, receivers?
Well, I don't want to give away the game plan, but it kind of like I talked about before, that this offense is made to get the ball in the hands of playmakers. And it's not just by one game. You know, if someone's making some plays in space, we'll get the ball to some plays in space. You know, if we got to put 2 running backs in there, we'll put 2 running backs in there. If we got to put no running backs and more wideouts, we're able within this offense to be complex but also simplistic enough that the players don't get confused.